的な力様をここで終わらせ
Hey, what's up guys, it's YellowMotion here and welcome to another Let's Talk video of Tekken 7 Faded Retribution. And if you watched my previous video, then you will know that I talked about E3 and Tekken 7. Will it be there, yes or no? Well, I mean guys, it's pretty obvious. Tekken 7 is going to be at E3, right? And I was telling you about the Unreal Engine 4, what part it had with Tekken 7's development, you know, and what kind of possibilities there are for a Xbox One version and for a PC version, right? And I wouldn't make that video if I didn't have any good reason to make that video, right? So if you ask me, is there going to be an Xbox One version? Yeah, that's a no-brainer, no questions asked, right? Hey, what are the chances for a PC version? Well, I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna think it's definitely going to come, alright? And it's definitely going to be announced. I will talk about the PC version in my last video, alright? The video is going to be up in no time, alright? So stay tuned for that. So continuing our last talk of Tekken 7, one of the most demanded questions ever since the game has actually been announced is, when is the console release date going to be announced? But most importantly, when is the release date going to be so that we can finally get the game in our hands and enjoy the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7 ourselves, alright? Well, I think it's definitely going to be at E3, and I'll tell you why I think that. So guys, while I haven't discussed this topic very briefly, I would like to do it now. So I'm gonna talk with you guys about the actual release date of Tekken 7. And honestly guys, to me, the game I think needs to be the game it can be before we get it in our hands. I want this to be the complete, full experience that this game has envisioned to be by Harada and his team, right? But in a sense, the release date is the most important thing you've all been waiting for ever since that the game was announced. And right now, I will give you my opinion on what it will be and what it potentially and eventually can be, and I tell you why I think that. So guys, so I've said quite some stuff. And in my opinion, E3 is very important for Tekken 7 at this moment, at this time, at this place, and I will tell you why. 2015 was the year of the arcades, with the King of Iron Fist Tournament as the big finale, right? And there was hardly any console related news besides the official announcement at Paris Games Week. And now 8 months have passed since the console related announcement. So waiting another year for Paris Games Week or another event is in my opinion a bit too long. And while we know every bit and every detail and news regarding to the arcade version of Tekken 7, most of the casual gamers aren't that aware of the game, besides the fact that Akuma is now part of Tekken 7 and many still think that it's a gimmick or anything like that, right? And therefore, right now, I think that E3 2016 is the perfect opportunity to showcase the game to the world by making a big entrance and showcase the game and say, this is Tekken, and together we are Tekken. Hey, and remember, all this time Tekken 7 FR was purely based and focused on gameplay. And this trailer that we'll see at E3 must be a big one in my opinion, you know, showcasing new stages, features, the new mechanics, updates, new characters, soundtracks, and also several old characters as well. That's what I think will happen and should happen, if I have to say it like that. And also, just like I said at the beginning, there will be a hands-down demo of Tekken 7 as well at the IGN scheduled live E3 show that's on June 16th. And something like that also has happened with Tekken Tag 2 in 2012, but also most noticeably back in 2009 at IGN themselves. For the scenario campaign of Tekken 6 was demonstrated by Michael Murray and Harada, but also the gameplay in general. So I can imagine that we might get a new demo of the potential new story mode for Tekken 7, along with some other cool features and cool stuff as well for Tekken 7, and maybe a potential PSVR demo by Harada himself as well. But nonetheless, besides that, there will be tons of coverage as well on other occasions as well, I believe. So if you ask me right now, like, hey, are we going to get a release date for Tekken 7 on E3? My answer to that is, it's the right moment to do so. It's the right opportunity, and maybe it's the best opportunity as well, and let me explain why. Let's say it can also potentially happen at EVO 2016 or some several other events, huge events like Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, or yet another Paris Games Week, right? But there is no doubt that E3 is just the biggest of them all to reach a maximum audience at one time, at one place, at one moment, right? And everybody's eyes and attention right now are pointed at E3, so it makes huge sense to make a huge impact on the world, where every magazine and game-related site and outlet will write and talk about it in no time. Because this is for the console gamers after all. And to me it makes so much sense to do it right now at E3, because like I said, it's console related after all. And the arcade players in Japan already know their release. It's gonna happen in July, which is just a couple of weeks away. So I think we're finally going to get a release date. So the next question is, what will the release date be, right? Will it be 2016 or 2017? So just like in the past E3s, we've gotten release dates or at least a year to look forward to when it's going to be released, right? And if we look closely, in a sense we can see that Tekken has always been a part of E3, but noticeably since 2014 it hasn't been present at all, right? It has been absent, because instead they decided to do things differently this time. After all, the reveal was at EVO 2014, which was still a huge impact though. And like I said in my previous videos, especially in the expansion prediction video, is that 2015 was the year of the arcades, so there wasn't any news related thing for the consoles, no E3 for Tekken 7 on 2015, nothing at all, just purely focused on the arcades. The only thing console related somehow was Paris Games Week. Okay, so this is what you need to know. Ever since Tekken 6, Tekken's cycle has been that of, having an arcade release, followed by an arcade update, and when that's complete, that's going to be followed with an actual final console release, right? And we all know that the arcade update to Tekken 7 FR is just a couple of weeks away from launch in Japan. I think that this is now the right moment to make a huge impact on the world, on the audience, on everyone. So, after 2 years of absence, I would say that it's a good time to also show a release date at E3 for the console gamers. And that's what I think will definitely happen for all the good reasons. So, like I've said, the expansion to Tekken 7 was consistent of being announced 9 to 10 months after the initial arcade release. As we can see that with Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection, with Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, and Tekken 7 Fated Retribution, all of the 3 games have been announced after 9 months of their initial arcade release, right? So far so good, right? But after that, it all started to change once the actual arcade trailer of Tekken 7 FR was released, followed by a release date of summer 2016 on arcades. And right now we know that it's actually July, it's going to be happening in July, and I have to say, since the event is on June 15, I think it's kind of 1 month prior to the actual release, which is probably going to be, mid-July, 15 to 18 July, something like that. But so, like I was saying, in the past, the time between the actual arcade release and the actual expansion release on the arcades have been roughly exactly 1 year. So with Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection, it was roughly 1 year later before that update got launched into the arcades. And with Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, the same applied to that too. Although I'm talking like that, you should know that Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection on the arcade was after the PSP release, right? But I'm just taking these two because they are kind of consistent with each other. But now for Tekken 7, I thought it would be similar to that, right? Because the game came out on March 2015, so initially I thought it made sense for it to release on March 2016 on the arcades, right? But that wasn't the case, as the release date of summer 2016 already implied that. So it's taking Tekken 7 FR instead of 1 year, it now takes 16 months, which is 1 year and 4 months to come out after the initial release, which is 4 months more than usual, right? And with that we come to the last part of the Tekken cycle, which is the console release. And if we look at that, we can see that Tekken 5 DR, or in this case Tekken Dark Resurrection, for the PSP, right? I'm talking about the PSP, was released 8 months after the arcade in North America, which is 20 months after the initial arcade release of Tekken 5. And for Europe it was 10 months, so 22 months after the arcade release. But we all know that Tekken 5 was already released before that. But Tekken 5 is just the first entry into this because it got its success from that. And if you look at Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, we can see that just after 10 months we got the console release, which is initially 22 months after the initial arcade release, right? So you can see the both 22 months, right? So guys, you can already see where I'm going with this, right? Although I still would greatly appreciate and also want a release date for 2016, like many of you guys want. And I wouldn't mind at all if it's the last week of December of this year. It should be very clear, and in my opinion, that Tekken 7 will come out in 2017 for sure. Because if we look at the previous installments with their previous cycles, we can see how much we yet have to, wait for the game to come out. So 10 months after July 2016 is May 2017. Or in this case, if we look at how much time has passed between the arcade and the console release, then it's 22 months for both Tekken 5 DR and Tekken 6 BR, right? Which means it should have been January 2017 in the first place. But since the arcade version took longer for the update to hit the arcades, I think it's gonna take a bit longer too, right? So guys, although based on the calculation I come to May 2017, I think a much better release would be at the first quarter of 2017, which is sometime between January and the end of April of 2017. But I think like the perfect date would be something between March 15 and March 31, something into that frame. That would be the ideal release date of Tekken 7 because it also hits that 22 months after the initial arcade release, which has been for Tekken 5 and Tekken 6. But in any case guys, I should also mention that even this is very reliable, what happened into the past, things still can change for the best of us all. Because after all, you see, Tekken 7 is being developed with Unreal Engine 4 and the workflow and pipeline is now much more fluent in production and execution. And also with the recent news about the new business model for the arcades, where they say that they are going to support the arcade release much longer than previously with constant updates, that brings me to think that why not do the same thing for consoles, Because like I said, it's being developed from one platform and ported into several mediums. But also guys, you have to look this from another side as well. For example, right now the Tekken Tour is still running, right? And it's fully planned for 2016, because releasing the game while the Tekken Tour is still active, I think that would kill the hype for these tournaments too. And also, Bandai Namco's lineup of the upcoming games are already quite filled for 2016. And also especially with the recent announced Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which is going to hit shelves on 2016 as well. So that makes more sense to me why the release date for Tekken 7 is going to be 2017. But listen guys, this may come as a huge, disappointment or whatever. I knew this once I saw that arcade trailer and it said summer 2016. I already knew like, yep, it's gonna be 2017 for sure because they are drifting away from their initial plan. But hey guys, it's just a couple of months. It's not like it's going to be, fall 2017 or 2018. Come on, let's be reasonable. But guys, there's also another side to this, if I have to say so. Because right now we live in an age where everything gets constantly patched and updated after a release, right? And just maybe we can also get a much earlier release for console as well. Because guys, look, deep down inside I want to be very wrong about the 2017 release date. For several good reasons I want to be very wrong. But for now I'll stick to it because it's just a couple of months more. But anyway, hopefully we're gonna find out soon enough. Well, we reached the end of the video, guys, and as always, let me know what you think of this topic. And now that it's been confirmed dozens of times that Tekken 7 is going to be at E3, do you think that we're going to get the release date as well for the consoles? And if you think it's going to be like that, what do you think it will be, 2016, this year, or 2017? Anyway, whatever you're thinking, man, let me know in the comments below. But also, in general, everything regarding Tekken 7, E3, express yourself in the comments below, man, and let's start the hype talks. Because let me tell you one thing, man, it's going to be f***ing awesome. I know it. And guys, make sure to follow me on social media as well. Whether like the page on Facebook or follow me on Twitter, because I'll be constantly updating with bits here and there, because I'm not always making a video, but when there is something juicy going around with Tekken 7, I'll always post it on social media. And remember guys, if you like this video, then make sure that you like it and share it with your fellow audience. And as always guys, thanks for watching, keep on watching, and stay tuned for more awesome Tekken 7 videos. My name is YellowMotion, and I see you guys next time. Peace.